A 20-year-old man steps into Judge Caprio's courtroom like he owns the place. Chin up. Gold watch shining. A smirk meant to show one thing. Rules are for everyone else. Not him. His name is Evan Romano, but he wants the courtroom to remember a different name. The mayor. His uncle. His shield. His excuse. Before Judge Caprio even looks at the case file. Before the bailiff finishes calling the docket, Evan leans back in his seat and whispers loudly enough for everyone to hear. Relax. The mayor's basically my second dad. This'll be quick. He doesn't notice the bailiff staring at him. He doesn't care. Arrogance has a way of making a person blind to danger. But what Evan doesn't know is this. In Judge Caprio's courtroom, arrogance is the quickest path to consequences. And before the next 30 minutes are over, he'll learn a lesson his uncle can't protect him from. Stay till the end. Because the moment the truth comes out, the entire courtroom stops breathing. Tuesday morning, 9:14 a.m. Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff announces the case. The State of Rhode Island versus Evan Michael Romano. Evan rises slowly, as if the floor should be grateful to feel his footsteps. He doesn't say, "Good morning, Your Honor." He doesn't say, "Sir." He simply nods at Judge Caprio. "Morning, Judge." The disrespect hits the courtroom like cold wind. Judge Caprio responds calmly. "Mr. Romano, you're charged with traveling 92 miles per hour in a 40-mile-per-hour zone. Do you understand the charge?" Evan shrugs. "It's not a big deal. I was in a rush." The judge studies him. "Mr. Romano, 92 miles per hour is not a minor issue. That speed can kill someone." Evan grins. "Judge, it's fine. My uncle knows about it." Caprio closes the file. "And your uncle is the mayor, correct?" Evan nods with confidence only someone protected their whole life could have. "Yep, basically raised me." "We're close." The message behind the words is not subtle. My family is powerful. Make this go away. Bodycam footage tells a different story. Judge Caprio nods to the clerk. "Please play the dashcam and bodycam footage." The screen shows the patrol car driving quietly through a residential neighborhood. Then suddenly, a black sports car blasts past at 92 miles per hour. The officer hits the sirens. When the bodycam activates, the audio is clear. Officer Perez approaches the window. "Sir, you were traveling 92 miles per hour. License and registration." Evan's voice comes out immediately, arrogant and sharp. "Relax, you know the Romano family, right?" Perez stays professional. "Sir, please provide your license." Evan laughs. "Call it in." "Go ahead, my uncle's the mayor." "This ticket won't last an hour." Perez tries again. "Speeding like this is dangerous." Evan cuts him off. "You want to keep your job? Don't mess with people connected to the Romano family." The courtroom watches the footage in stunned silence. Then Evan says something that makes even the bailiff shift his stance. "You go through with this ticket, and trust me, you'll be working school crossings for the rest of your career." Judge Caprio pauses the video. His voice is calm. "Controlled. Mr. Romano, did you threaten Officer Perez?" Evan lifts one shoulder casually. "I didn't threaten him. I just told him the reality. My uncle runs this city." Caprio looks at him carefully. "Is that how you see it?" Evan gives a half smile. "Judge." Caprio watches that smile the way a surgeon watches a heartbeat monitor. The courtroom door opens just as Caprio is about to continue. The door at the back of the courtroom opens. The shift in energy is immediate. Everyone turns. Standing in the doorway, dressed in a dark suit, expression hard as stone, is Mayor Anthony Romano. Evan's confidence collapses in an instant. Smirk fades, the posture straightens, his eyes widen. This was not part of his plan. The mayor walks to the back row without a word. He doesn't nod to his nephew, doesn't smile, doesn't acknowledge the courtroom. He simply sits, hands folded. Face unreadable. Judge Caprio speaks softly. Mr. Romano, I assume your uncle did not tell you he would be attending today. Evan swallows. No. I didn't know. Caprio continues, very well. Let's proceed. The courtroom is silent, tension thick. The fall of entitlement has begun. Judge Caprio's voice turns sharper. Mr. Romano, Caprio says, you stated you were in a rush. Where were you going? Evan answers too quickly. Home. At 1 in the morning? Yeah, just home. Where were you coming from? A friend's place. What is the friend's address? Evan hesitates. I don't remember. Caprio nods slowly. Do you remember traveling 92 miles per hour? Everyone speeds sometimes. 92 is not sometimes, Mr. Romano. That is reckless. Evan sighs dramatically. Judge, with all due respect, this is getting blown out of proportion. Caprio looks at him with calm, controlled patience. Mr. Romano, you're standing in a courtroom, facing a legal charge, having threatened an officer, and you still believe you're in control of this situation. Evan shrugs again. Yeah, isn't that how it works? Caprio leans forward slightly. No, that is not how it works. Evan opens his mouth, but before he can speak, Caprio continues. No one in this room cares who your uncle is. Not the officer. Not the bailiff. Not me. You are here because you endangered the public. And you attempted to intimidate a public servant. Evan's jaw clenches. I didn't intimidate him. I just told him he was making a mistake. Judge Caprio gestures to the screen. Threatening a police officer's career is not advice, Mr. Romano. The mayor finally speaks from the back of the courtroom. The mayor's voice breaks the silence. Your Honor, may I speak? Evan's head snaps back toward him. Judge Caprio nods once. You may. Mayor Romano. The mayor stands slowly. He looks at his nephew with disappointment, so deep it fills the entire room. And then he says the one sentence that turns the case upside down. Your Honor, I advised Officer Perez to file every charge he had. Evan's face goes white. The courtroom stiffens. Judge Caprio folds his hands. Please continue. Mayor Romano. The mayor's voice is quiet. Steady. My nephew thinks my position protects him. But the truth is, I asked the police department to stop giving him warnings. I asked them to stop shielding him. I told them the next time he disrespected an officer, they were to pursue it formally. Evan stares at him, stunned. You. What? His uncle's voice doesn't waver. You need consequences, Evan. Real ones. And I can't give them to you. He turns to Judge Caprio. But you can. The judge nods. And Evan Romano realizes he is alone. Really. Truly alone. And the weight of that realization begins the downfall he never saw coming. The courtroom is silent. No one moves. No one whispers. No one dares break the tension now sitting heavy on every seat. Evan Romano stands, frozen at the podium, breathing shallow, eyes locked on the man he always believed would protect him, his uncle, the mayor, his shield. But that shield just shattered in front of everyone. Judge Caprio folds his hands calmly. Mayor Romano, he says, you stated that you instructed the police department to stop providing your nephew with special treatment. May I ask why? The mayor steps forward, leaving the back row and walking slowly toward the front. Every step echoes. My nephew, the mayor says, has been given more chances than most people receive in a lifetime. And each time, instead of learning from them, he became worse. He turns to Evan. I warned you these days would come. Evan shakes his head in disbelief. You're doing this? In front of everyone? You're embarrassing me. The mayor doesn't blink. You embarrassed yourself the moment you threatened a police officer on camera. Judge Caprio's eyes narrow slightly. Mr. Romano, do you wish to respond? Evan's confidence is crumbling. But his ego refuses to let go. Okay, fine. Maybe I was a little harsh with the officer. But it wasn't a threat. I was just telling him the truth. My uncle runs the police. People respect him. The judge corrects him quietly. Respect is earned, not inherited. Evan exhales hard. Judge, I'm 20. Everyone messes up at 20. Caprio nods. Double quotes, yes, they do. But not everyone threatens an officer's career. Not everyone drives 92 miles per hour past homes where families are sleeping. And not everyone walks into a courtroom assuming the law bends for them. The mayor steps beside the prosecution table. Your Honor, if I may clarify something. Caprio nods. Go ahead. The mayor looks at his nephew with sadness. Not anger. Evan believes my influence is a shield. But it isn't. My influence is a responsibility. I have spent 20 years trying to build trust between the police and the public. And he nearly destroyed it with one traffic stop. The judge listens carefully. The mayor continues. When Officer Perez called in the stop, he didn't know who he had pulled over. He only knew someone was driving at a deadly speed. He did his job. And the moment Evan said, "Do you know who my uncle is?" my phone started ringing. Evan mutters under his breath, "I thought you'd help me." "I did help you," the mayor replies. "But not the way you wanted." The judge gestures toward the mayor. "Please explain." The mayor nods. "I told the department to process this case exactly like any other. No favors, no calls, no exceptions. And Officer Perez was informed that if he faced any retaliation from my nephew, it would be handled internally, not erased." He turns to Evan again. "And you still threatened him." Evan's face reddens. "I didn't threaten." Caprio stops him. "Mr. Romano, you will not interrupt." Evan closes his mouth. The mayor continues. "Your Honor, if this young man does not learn the limits of his privilege, he will hurt someone, or ruin someone's career, or destroy his own future." The judge leans back in his chair. "Thank you, Mayor Romano." Judge Caprio turns back to Evan. "Mr. Romano," the judge says, "I need to understand something clearly." Evan nods. Bracing himself, Caprio asks, "When you told Officer Perez that he would be working school crossings next year, what did you mean by that?" Evan speaks without thinking. "It's just something people say. Like, you know, he'd get a bad assignment." Caprio's voice sharpens. "And why would he get a bad assignment?" Evan hesitates. "Because that's how it works. My uncle decides stuff like that." The mayor closes his eyes briefly in disappointment. Caprio studies the young man. "So you believe your uncle influences where officers get assigned? I mean, doesn't he?" Caprio responds quietly. "No, he doesn't." Evan shrugs weakly. "Well, that's what everyone says." Caprio leans forward. "Mr. Romano, where did you learn that using political power to intimidate public servants was acceptable?" Evan opens his mouth, then stops. The judge continues. "Did someone teach you that? Did someone tell you the rules don't apply to you? Did someone suggest that your uncle's position gives you leverage over police officers?" Evan stares at the floor. "No one said it. I just figured." Caprio's voice is firm. "Figured. Based on what?" Evan finally says it out loud. "Because every other time I got pulled over, the ticket went away." The courtroom murmurs. The mayor closes his eyes. Judge Caprio's expression turns serious. "So you expected this one to disappear as well?" "Yeah. And you assumed you didn't need to take this seriously?" "Yes. And you believed your uncle would protect you from consequences?" "Yes." Caprio nods slowly. "That, Mr. Romano, is the root of this entire issue." Judge Caprio pulls up the officer's statement. "Miss Gable," he says to the clerk, "please read Officer Perez's narrative from the report." The clerk stands and reads. "Upon issuing the citation, the defendant stated, 'My uncle will bury this.' You're wasting your time. Defendant also said, if you give me this ticket, my uncle will make sure you never get promoted. Defendant repeated variations of these statements 3 times. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. This time, even Evan looks shocked. Your Honor. That's not exactly what Caprio raises his hand. Enough. Silence. You may not remember saying those words, Mr. Romano, but the body cam does. The report does. The evidence does. The judge taps the file lightly, and the evidence does not lie. The mayor steps forward again. Your Honor. May I add something? Caprio nods. Earlier this morning, the mayor says, I met privately with Officer Perez before this hearing. Evan looks stunned. You did what? The mayor ignores him. To Officer Perez, I said the following. If my nephew ever uses my name to intimidate an officer again, I will personally recommend disciplinary action, not against the officer, but against the nephew. Evan stares at him, betrayed. You told him that? Yes, his uncle answers, and I'd say it again. Judge Caprio stands. Everyone in the courtroom straightens. Judge Caprio rarely stands. And when he does, it means something serious is coming. Mr. Romano, he says, I've heard enough to make my ruling. But before I do, I want to give you one final opportunity. Evan lifts his head. This is your chance to tell this court why you believe you deserve leniency. Not because of your family, not because of your name, but because of your character. Evan's throat tightens for the first time all morning. He looks scared, not angry, not arrogant. Scared. He grips the podium with trembling hands. Judge, I don't know what to say. Caprio nods. Then speak honestly. Evan hesitates. The mayor watches, arms crossed. The bailiff stands ready. The courtroom waits. Evan finally whispers, I didn't think anyone would take it seriously. I really thought someone else would fix it. I thought I wouldn't have to face this. Caprio asks, and now? Evan's voice breaks. Now I think I messed everything up. Caprio studies him carefully. Mr. Romano, your actions this night were dangerous. Your attitude was dangerous. And your belief that you are untouchable is the most dangerous of all. He pauses. I'm prepared to give my ruling. The courtroom holds its breath, but then Caprio says, before I announce the consequences, we will take a brief recess. The gavel strikes once. Evan stands frozen, staring straight ahead because the next part, the sentencing, will change his life. Forever. The courtroom door closes behind Judge Caprio as he steps into recess, but the silence left behind is louder than any argument. Evan Romano stands completely still. His hands grip the wooden podium so tightly his knuckles are white. The confidence he walked in with is gone, replaced by the slow, creeping truth that for the first time in his life, no one is coming to rescue him. His uncle, the mayor, doesn't speak to him, doesn't look at him, doesn't move toward him. He just sits quietly, staring ahead as if this moment was years in the making. People whisper in the back rows, that's the mayor's nephew? He talked like that to an officer? No wonder the mayor's furious. Evan hears every word. It hits him harder than the tickets ever could. He whispers to himself, I didn't think he'd actually show up. Before he can process anything else, the side door opens. The bailiff stands tall. All rise. The entire courtroom rises instantly. Judge Frank Caprio returns to the bench. Expression calm but unyielding, he sits. You may be seated. Everyone settles into their chairs. Everyone except Evan. He remains standing, because he knows this moment is for him. Judge Caprio adjusts his glasses, folds his hands, and speaks. The final hearing begins, Mr. Romano, the judge says. During the recess, I reviewed the footage. The officer's report, your driving history, and your conduct in this courtroom. Every sentence is measured, controlled, deliberate. Your actions tonight and your attitude afterward are the reason we are here. Not your uncle. Not your family, you. Evan swallows hard. Caprio continues. You drove 92 miles per hour in a residential zone. That alone could have taken a life. But what concerns me far more is what you did afterward. The judge shifts the file slightly. You tried to weaponize your uncle's public office. You attempted to intimidate a police officer. You signaled that the law is optional for the well-connected. The mayor closes his eyes. He knew this moment was coming. Caprio looks directly at the young man. And you believed your uncle would sweep away the consequences. Evan's voice is barely audible. I know. I messed up. That is an understatement, Caprio replies. The judge's surprising question. Then Judge Caprio asks something no one expects. Mr. Romano, look around this courtroom. Do you see who is sitting behind you? Evan turns slowly. He sees a collection of strangers. Mother with 2 children. A delivery driver waiting for his fine. A college student who looks terrified. A nurse still in scrubs. A retired veteran. Wearing a cap, regular people, the ones who don't have a mayor in their family, Caprio says. These are the citizens who follow the rules because they must. Because they don't have anyone to call. Because consequences matter. He leans slightly forward. Do you understand what it means to stand in the same room as them and declare that you are above them? Evan's voice breaks. No, Judge, I didn't mean. Caprio stops him gently. You meant exactly what the bodycam recorded. But the question now is whether you're ready to learn from it. Evan lowers his head. Yes, Your Honor. The judge delivers the ruling. Very well, Caprio says. I will now deliver my ruling. The courtroom freezes. Here it comes. First, for driving 92 miles per hour in a residential neighborhood, I am imposing a fine of $1,000 and a mandatory 60-day license suspension. Evan nods. Expected. Double quotes. Second, for attempting to intimidate a police officer, I am adding a $2,500 fine. Murmurs ripple across the courtroom, but Caprio isn't finished. Third, he pauses. For using your uncle's position to escape accountability and for disrespecting law enforcement, I am ordering you to complete 120 hours of community service. Evan closes his eyes. Caprio continues, but not just any service. The room leans forward. You will serve those hours with the Providence Traffic Safety Education Program, specifically assisting officers in school zones, public safety workshops, and pedestrian awareness trainings. Evan's eyes widen. School zones, safety, workshops, handing out educational flyers, standing in the cold with officers he once mocked. People in the courtroom, not approvingly. But Judge Caprio has one more decision, the one no one saw coming. The most unexpected part of the sentence, however. The judge says, the most important part of your sentence is this. Evan braces himself. You, Mr. Romano, will attend every single shift alongside Officer Perez, the officer you threatened. The courtroom erupts in quiet gasps. Evan's breath stops. Caprio continues. You looked him in the face and told him your uncle controlled his career. Now you will spend hours working directly with him, under his supervision, learning what public service truly means. The mayor's head lowers. He knows this is exactly what his nephew needs. Evan whispers, Judge, please. Caprio holds up a hand. You will also write a personal letter of apology to Officer Perez, to be read aloud in this courtroom at your follow-up hearing in 60 days. Evan feels the weight of embarrassment, responsibility, humiliation all at once. And finally, Caprio says, you will attend a monthly accountability session here in court for the next 4 months. During each session, you will stand at that podium and explain publicly what you learned from your service. Evan looks defeated, but something else begins forming beneath the defeat. Understanding. Caprio single quotes, as voice softens, but only slightly. Mr. Romano, I am not punishing you because of your uncle. I am holding you accountable because the law requires it. And because your uncle has worked too hard building trust in this city for you to tear it down. The mayor finally looks at his nephew, not with anger, with hope. Caprio gives the final line. Privilege is not a shield. Accountability is not optional. Court is adjourned. The gavel strikes. For a moment, Evan just stands there, breathing unevenly. The bailiff approaches. You're free to go, son. Report for your first service shift Monday at 7 a.m. Evan nods slowly, but before he can leave, Officer Perez steps forward from the back of the courtroom. Evan freezes. Perez doesn't look angry. He looks calm. Professional. Human. He extends his hand. Mr. Romano, Perez says, we'll start fresh on Monday. Evan swallows hard. He shakes the officer's hand. For the first time all day, the courtroom sees a young man who finally understands the lesson. 2 months later, the follow-up hearing, Evan stands at the podium again, wearing a reflective vest from his service detail. He reads the apology letter with a steady voice, sincere, humble, changed. Officer Perez nods slowly from the back row. Judge Caprio listens carefully, then says, Mr. Romano, this is what accountability looks like. I hope you carry this lesson into adulthood. Evan nods. I will, Your Honor, I promise. Caprio closes the file. This matter is closed. A final thought from the judge as the courtroom empties. Judge Caprio writes one private note in his bench book. When power becomes entitlement, the cure is service. He closes the book. Justice has been served, and a privileged young man has been changed, not by force, but by truth.